and the Vice Chancellor.
All right. We see the University Governing Council saying that he's been removed on allegations of misconduct. The letter you received, did it have any specifics or details of the misconducts that Ogundipe has been charged with?
That's exactly what Ogundipe also mentioned, that you need to state what the misconduct is all about. But it's sad because that's also one of the things we see in our political parlance, where you say somebody has been removed for gross misconduct, and sometimes they will add embezzlement of funds without substantiating what is gross misconduct. Where that applies in our constitution is that the constitution did not also state what constitutes gross misconduct. Is that what is happening in university too? I don't think that is right. But the feelers we're getting is that a good number of people, the Senate and good number of people in the school, are against what is going on. That's the removal of the VC. And the Senate should not be relegated in this discourse. The Governing Council should not be relegated in this discourse. Let us follow due process. For what reason? If somebody is not playing to your tunes, the university has some kind of autonomy, and they should allow them to do that autonomy. It shouldn't be a tool for power play between the Pro-Chancellor and that of the Vice-Chancellor. The Vice-Chancellor is actually the operating head of administration. And I don't think he needs to, stoop to the Pro-Chancellor for him to succeed. That is unnecessary. We've had series of cases for, like the school I went to. We have emirs, we have monarchs being called Pro-Chancellor. So it's more of a ceremonial thing, and it shouldn't be beyond that.
And when ASU eventually meets over this matter, what do we expect from that meeting? Also, what would you recommend should be the way forward from this crisis? Basically,
I do not expect ASU to have a bite in this matter. ASU is the academic staff. I think if there is any union that should have a bigger say in this, it should be the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, that's in SANU, who are, most of them are professors. They are more of the senior staff than, though I know there are professors in ASU too. But whatever ASU would do, whatever SANU would do, what is important is that they are all stakeholders, and let the right thing be done. Let us not have power tussle unnecessarily, to the extent that this has even affected the convocation ceremony that was meant to hold before this issue of COVID, where everybody definitely had to go home. So I don't want the proverb to come into place now, where they say when elephants are fighting, it's actually the grass that suffers. But let's hope that our correspondent who has gone to the campus will come up with some updates that would, unravel this issue. And to all the senior lecturers there, we understand that you're not civil servants. We understand that you're public servants, and your expression should be sacrosanct. This is not time to keep mute. This is not time to be scared of anybody victimizing you. This is a wake-up call. Let's know what is really going on. I do not believe that these professors actually are not privy to what is going on.
Thank you very much, Senior Editor here at Plus TV Africa, for you dissecting the issues with the leadership tussle in the University of Lagos. And do trust Plus TV Africa to, of course, bring you the latest updates as the issue unfolds. Moving on now, the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations, NOTN, is targeting an increase in the share of trade in gross domestic product, and that's to 50% by 2023. As of the first quarter in 2020, data from the National Bureau of Statistics gave trade's contribution to nominal GDP as 15.09%, and lower than the 16.95% contribution in the same quarter of the previous year, as well as the preceding quarter's 15.66%. The acting chief trade negotiator, Director General NOTN, Victor Lehman, disclosed this as part of the overview of the newly launched Nigeria Trade Policy Journal. Now, the Trade Office said the trade policy roadmap contains proactive strategies and responsive policy measures to address current and future challenges. We now have joining us a financial expert, Jide Ojo. Hello, Mr. Ojo.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, I believe no sector or industry has been spared from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And for trade in particular in Nigeria, the MBS has revealed that trade's contribution to nominal GDP is 16.95%, which is lower than the contribution of the same quarter the previous year. Could you help us break this down for the layman? What do you think this means for the Nigerian economy?
Well, it means that there is a depreciation in our trade, there's deficit, and we are not progressing. And this is not good for Nigerians' economy, because situations where you are retrogressing, you cannot claim that you are making progress. From 16% this quarter last year down to 15.09%. It's not good enough, but then there are causative factors that are responsible for this. You recall that since about March 2020, the country has been facing the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected largely the trade, commerce, and many other aspects of sectors of the economy. You talk about the hospitality business, the tourism business, even academia. Many schools have been shut down. Only recently do we have exit classes being reopened for. And all of this contributes to the economy because there are private interest groups, private entrepreneurs in the academic sector from primary to tertiary level. And this has also affected them. The aviation industry, you've heard about the sack in the aviation sector. The hospitality business is comatose and all of that. So by and large, you cannot blame the fact that the economy is not doing well solely on the government. We never saw the COVID-19 pandemic coming, and it is upon us. We are here to get out of it, but I think it's commendable that the Nigeria Office of Trade Negotiations has come up with this journal, which just launched, the Nigeria Trade Policy Journal, which it aims to use in articulating a roadmap to get out of this quagmire.
Yes, Mr. Ojo, we know that the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations is aiming to increase their share of trade in GDP to 50% by 2023. How do you suggest they can achieve this?
Well, a number of policies needs to come into place. Not only policies, but implementation of external policies. You recall that we are just exiting the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. We now have Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan, which is supposed to be on for another year. Now, you need to also redouble the infrastructure, bridge the infrastructure gap. Let me make it very simple. No matter the roadmap that we have to improve commerce, trade, and industry, without fixing the energy sector, and by energy sector, I mean the power sector, the electricity sector, we may not achieve much, because whether you like it or not, even if we are able to develop vaccines for COVID-19 today or before the end of the year, and things are back to normal, without the industry, the manufacturing sector, the ICT sector playing a critical role, without the digital economy, you may not achieve much. And for you to have a successful and sustainable digital economy, this has to ride on the backbone of electricity. Look at our telecommunication industry.
Well, unfortunately,
today,
press for time, sir.
We have a telecommunication industry that is quite epileptic since 2001, that many of them were licensed. This is as a result of lack of power or electricity to reduce the cost of doing business. And so we need to fix the cost of doing business, and by that, making sure that we sustain the current ease of doing business, but largely ensuring that we increase sustainably our power generation in terms of electricity.
Thank you so much, economic analyst there, Jide Ojo, for joining us on News on the Hour. And still ahead on our program is our roundup on sports news, and we'll be back in just a moment.
First of all, I think every Nigerian should know that nobody owes you anything.
Well, I've delivered my advocacy in a language I hope we understand.
Ni hao.
So let's forget the charade that is decency. Nigeria is culturally bankrupt.
He brought up Big Brother. They're telling them that if you want to be famous, if you want to be noticed overnight, you want to be a star, this is your ladder in a country where there is no hope for you otherwise.
Let me take it up from there. We are a country where we punish good behavior and reward bad behavior.
If we all, the way we troop out to Canaan land, and we all troop out like that and say, we'll just sit down here on the express and won't go anywhere until government takes a decision.
It's easier said than done in the sense that clearly, otherwise we would have done it. Because going out and protesting without a goal is a pointless protest.
That approach is not working.
You have not protested.
No, hold on. No, hold on.
And in sports, former Tottenham defender Jan Vertonghen is having a medical at Benfica before signing a 3-year deal. The 33-year-old left the Spurs at the end of the season after 8 years with the Premier League club, where he made over 300 appearances. Now, the Belgian international did not win a major honor in England, and he was part of the Spurs team that lost to the League Cup final to Chelsea in 2015 and the Champions League final to Liverpool in 2019. His proposed new club, Benfica, finished second in the Portuguese top flight last season and will enter the Champions League at the third qualifying round stage. And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
Thanks, Udoka, for that sports update. Now, for more news and stories, do follow us on Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Annetta Felix. Bye for now.
Welcome to Plus Events. The lockdown has been eased, but not on event centers and entertainment centers. But not to worry, I still have previous school events covered just before the pandemic started to show you.
Go to somebody and say, will you become an Okada rider? No, God forbid.
Are you man enough for this? As we bring you a Voluntary Austin Peters production titled Man Enough.
Man Enough, a Voluntary Austin Peters production, borders on the pressure men face, such as family pressure, being rejected by women, financial pressure, and societal pressure in a man's quest to prove that he is man enough, including the stereotype perception that men shouldn't cry or show emotions.
I was determined, man, to be the king of oil, sheep, and water. So as I did any business, I could make my hands from my Greek to oil farm. Whatever is good for Benjamin is good for... Small jokes.
When we workers are tired of, working for so long without any rest, or just appear, shouting, threatening, and pushing us beyond our limits.
What are you doing?
I was just trying to rest them.
Hey! See what? So we are paying you now to rest and not to work, eh?
Sir, please, sir, Mr. Can I just
Listen, if you rest again, I swear to God, I will make sure that you rest in peace.
Man Enough tells the story of 3 men, but in the real sense, it is the story of every man across the globe.
That is what you get when you are a man, unfortunately, to be down the ladder. That is what you get when you are not man enough.
You again! Get out here, little pig! I said move!
I didn't do anybody, I am begging you. And I promise.
When?
Sir.
Now you want to work right back at you?
Sir. My family depends on me, so I cannot have...
Promise, grab it tomorrow. Quickly!
Zero.
Take. When? Dino!
It is well. These two shall pass now. I know God has something in store for me. One day you go better.
Plus event spoke to some attendees about their expectations in a man and if they think men should show emotions, and here are some of the reactions we got.
The quintessential African woman expects the man to be, well, aside from the tall, dark and handsome, figure narrative, tall, dark and handsome, they also expect the man to be God-fearing, to be, in short, put all that plenty food on not only the table for the family, but for generations to come.
I think it's an African mentality. People in the Western world, they show they express themselves. They speak out when they feel damaged. They speak out when they feel hurt. They speak out when they feel that something is not working out. And they talk a lot. But this very African man, I can't show my weakness. They similarly say it's weakness. It just happens around across borders in Africa, and especially in Nigeria. So that should change. The situation right now, the way the world is going, we will need more communication coming from the other side, from the very similarly perfect-looking gentleman. Yeah, no more male chauvinism. It doesn't work. They just stay there and they die in silence. So more communication, be more in tune with what family wants from you, your children wants from you, and it makes things a whole lot easier when you speak, when you talk, when you share, and then when you love.
Coming from a home where my dad was he was mushy in comparison to my mom, and my mom was more the stable, like the stronger force. I think it was a yin and yang, and you need that in any home. So both people need to assume roles in a relationship so that it can give the home some kind of stability. And if that means a man is able to express himself and express his emotions, then that's great. I have a partner as well, and he's also like an asset to society, because I think a man who can express his views and his opinions and his emotions, he becomes a better human being. Because if we suppress these emotions, we take it out in other ways. We become abusive, we become aggressive, and just to avoid it cropping up into all these other forms, you can actually express it, speak about how you feel, and move past it.
If men are not allowed to show their emotions, it makes up for a very unhealthy society, which is very obvious in our environment, because if a man is not allowed to show his emotions, it means that he's not human. And God put emotions in all of us. So, frustration, pent-up anxiety and all the rest of it might cause him to behave in a different way. But if he was allowed to just cry and say, this is my problem, he might just behave like a better person.
Nowadays, people encourage their children, female children, to go to school, and you don't expect them to do less of a man as a child. So you expect that even as a couple, or as a married man and a woman, you expect that both of them can join hands together to support the home. It doesn't necessarily mean that the man should do everything. As much as the woman is allowed to go to school and chase their dreams, a man should also be supported.
Well, the long and short of the story, yes, some men choose to have emotions attached to who they are. But if you ask my own personal opinion, I think you should be yourself. Basically, we Majority of our problems in the world we're living today, all over the world, is because we let society dictate to us.
You know, our society, we have a slogan or a thing that says, condition make crayfish bend, right? Now, because our structures and our setups forbids the guy to be vulnerable, to break down, to show emotion, yeah? What the man tends to do under pressure is break and not bend anymore. The women bend under pressure, but the men break. Meanwhile, that means condition doesn't make crayfish bend anymore. Condition makes crayfish break. So a lot of men break under pressure. You saw Tino, he broke. He killed himself. Women don't do that.
There's just a lot of pressure. I agree that we should do more stuff for men, actually, because there's a lot of women empowerment, training for women and all that stuff, and it looks like nobody's doing anything for men, and they really need to, we need to pay attention to these things because they're going through stuff, a lot of pressure. Men, honestly, after reading the script, I was like, I don't want to be a man. Never ever, right? Because I've had conversations and, arguments with people about this thing, but I really didn't see it this way until I read the script and and we did this play. It made me appreciate men even more.
And it's a technical. I should check the call. What does she want? I don't know. You don't know, and you expect me to believe that? Come on. Come on, what? You expect me to believe that? You think I'm a fool, I mean?
I really don't expect too much, because when you don't expect too much, you don't get disappointed. That's one. And then secondly, what says a woman shouldn't work to make her own money? There's just been so much pressure, so much economical and financial and, physical, emotional pressure on men these days. And it pushes them to do quite a number of things they're not supposed to do.
The play stars actors like Tana Adelana, Gideon Okeke, Ayo Ayola, Juliana Oloyede, amongst others. It is a play to look out for.
If I find out that there's any really in my garden again, I swear to God Almighty, I will prove to you who the man of this house is. I will show you that I am the man. Prove I'm the man. Sit. I said sit. And look at you now. Answer me. Ma? Okay. Mano, everything will be all right. Thank you for everything. Feeling good, right? Put your hands together for the cast of My Nigga.
And tell stories that we can all somehow relate to it. Because somewhere in the play you just might see yourself or see somebody you know. And we want to tell stories that hopefully will inspire change and help us to become a better society.
Are you a fashion enthusiast? Then this event is just your turn as we bring you the GT Fashion Weekend 2019.
The GT Bank Fashion Weekend 2019 held on November 9 and 10, 2019, and it had top African designers showcasing their designs, including masterclasses facilitated by fashion experts. Over 130 vendors participated in the fair. Nigerian youths came out in their numbers to express their fashion style. Plus even got the chance to speak to some attendees about what fashion means to them, and they all had different meanings to fashion. We also spoke to some vendors who were super excited and grateful to be part of the fair. Enjoy.
It's my first time of appearing at the event, and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying the crowd that walks around taking pictures with the models. It's been the most awful thing around here today, that yesterday and today, that there is no person that passes there that does not take pictures with the girls as they pass them, because they are unbelievable kind of thing. They are spectacular pieces that they see, and every young girl, every young boy that passes, everybody that knows about fashion wants to stand with them and take pictures. I'm just sitting down there looking at them and having fun, watching them, crowd around them, even beg them to take pictures with them. It's a lot of fun.
We're here for the GT Bank Fashion Week, and I'm here to support my wife's brand. It's called Tanko. Tanko is specifically for kids from a year to 15. So if you're around, King Rudy is here. I'll be taking pictures with you guys and everybody. I'm here to support my wife, Tanko. Bless her.
I think this is good for visibility. And they understand that we cut across all the stratosphere. We have things from 2,500 naira to about 15K. So I think people now understand that we are affordable luxury.
Ladies and gentlemen.
How early did you know that you wanted to have a career in fashion? When I was taken to Portobello Road Market in London, when I was about 10 or 12 years old, and there was all these colourful characters everywhere dressing up, and I saw very quickly the reaction and the way that they made me feel, and I wanted to have a part of that. I think there's a level of escapism within the fashion industry, and it's a chance to put feathers on and dress up and escape maybe from your day-to-day life. Yeah.
I like to see African prints, designs, and so far I've seen a lot of them and I'm wowed.
As you can see, I'm here. Please let them see the camera. See, I've already bought something new. We are not celeb that will come here. You just be making us, you not spend money. We have bought something, we are supporting entrepreneurs. It's not easy. Do you understand? So the little you can do, come out here, look around. They are selling different type of things here. They are selling socks. They are selling anything you want to buy. Clothes, makeup, every fabrics. So what else do you want? Come here and support people. It's not going to cost anything.
I think if you look around, you see like 80% of Lagosians are all here, all youths trying to express how they feel in the way they look. And so GT has been one enterprise that has tried in bringing everyone together, trying to make SMEs grow, trying to see how they can improve themselves, and even giving talk shows, master classes, flying people abroad. I haven't seen anybody do such things. So if they can keep it up, I would already seeing SMEs take their stance, people explore and showcase what they do, and I don't think it's going to stop with the way it's going. I think 2019 was better than 2018.
Fashion means freedom to me. Freedom to wear anything you want, how you want it. I remember no one will wear this with a tattoo leg, right? Oh, this is fashion.
Our fashion is actually the expression of your personality and who you are, like deep down on the inside. So I see GT Bank Fashion Week as a platform where you can fully express yourself to your full potential. So I can see amazing designers, I can see people showcasing around, I can see different kinds of outfits, people trying to shape shift, people that are trying to change the narrative, and that are doing a lot of stuff with the pieces they are wearing. So I see it as, I see fashion as expression basically.
I think it's a great one. At least they're putting their giving people opportunities to be able to showcase themselves for free, and I think it's amazing. Kudos to GTB, it's amazing. It's an amazing one.
What GT Bank is doing is
absolutely phenomenal. It's so beautiful and so important. I've seen so many young people here, and they're just able to express themselves and their fashion sense, and it's something that is rare because a lot of spaces here in Nigeria have middle-aged and older people, but this gives a chance to younger people to show what they want to wear and what the trends are, and I love it.
I can't just start. Like last year, I was also here. So I'd only started my brand less than a year, and I got into the GT fashion to be a vendor, and I was like, oh my God. So I came and it was good, and I hoped it will happen again this year, and it did happen. And the fact in which it happened, and I have also grown. I had only Shokoto by Fawenzo then, but now I have Shokoto X Buba by Fawenzo. So it's great, there's improvements. Shokoto has found a wife called Buba.
Plus Events was at the Social Good Lagos Summit. Take a look.
Social Good Lagos is the Lagos, Nigeria chapter of the Social Good Global Network, a community of professionals and top leaders who are dedicated to using new media and digital technologies to enhance social good initiatives through partnerships, collaborations, and innovation. A community united by a shared vision, leveraging on the power of new media and technology to make the world a better place.
Impressed by the initiative and the innovations that we have in this part of the world. It shows that collaboratively we can do more. And she solved a problem where transportation is concerned. Yesterday, the founder of RES was talking about a problem she solved for people in rural communities where solar and power is concerned. So yes, there's a lot of innovations going on. There's a lot of collaboration that should go on. Last year, at the Social Good Summit, we talked about bridging the gap. But it's important that regardless of the gap you want to bridge, you need somebody to hold your hand and bridge a better gap.
There's a huge pool of unemployed people, and why can't we train them to ride Okadas and then teach them how to use the app? Because the regular Okada man on a ride-hailing platform is making as much as 150, 180,000 naira a month. People don't know, because when you go to somebody and say, will you become an Okada rider? They don't know, God forbid.
There's that popular stat that everybody knows. 9 out of every 10 businesses fail within the first 1 year. Everybody knows it. It's always been, something that's part of entrepreneurial conversations every time. And for us, it was like, why do we always have to lose 90% of our investment as a nation in entrepreneurship? And one of the things that we found out was there were lots of businesses that were not structured. In terms of the mobility of businesses from the micro level to the small level, then from the small to the medium, then from the medium to the large, it was super, super low, right? So you do not have a lot of businesses in Nigeria that cross those levels. So you find many businesses start micro and they end micro. Many businesses start micro, they go to small, and they never go beyond that level.
When you talk about human resources, when I look at the performance of my employees, I want to have the best performance of my employees. Why? Because it decreases the cost, which then allows me to decrease the interest rates and offer a better product to the customer. It's the same in marketing. If you, for example, come into my, if you speak to me in the company and you say, I think I like the color better, that's why we should use this on the billboards, I would say, please go back and do your homework, please do the data analysis, ask the people, and then you come back. We have asked 1,000 people and the data says that they like this color better. Why? Because it allows me to have a better product. It allows me to, in the end, have a cheaper product. It allows me to serve my customers better. And this is, in the end, all focused on the customer. So we have to think about how can we use data, how can we use the correct data, to then simply drive the value proposition for the customer.
We're still very far away from where we want our data gathering capacity to be. But of course, we understand very clearly, and from what business we've done in the last 2 years, it's very clear that without data, we wouldn't be able to better provide, just like he said, services to our customers. So we have, in the company today, we have about, slightly about 300 data points that we pick from, that we track, and we want to know new ones, some that, we want to see the relevance and how it tilts, so this is around consumer behavior. So we are a B2B business, right? But we're interested in the customers of those businesses. So we even try as much as possible to clip data from these guys, because they're very important. That at the end of the day, the people that we're trying to, essential medicine is not for the pharmacies themselves. It's for the community that they serve.
Data is not, how are we going to get data? Nigeria, we don't have research this thing. It's from recording everything that happens in your business every single day. Every single day. So also on our shuttles, we have bus captains. Bus captains are our customers that are appointed to be bus captains in the bus. We have meetings with them monthly. It's like a town hall meeting. We sit down with them and we try to listen to everything that they say. We record it, and it influences what we do on our shuttles. You would not know, we also realize that different routes, different things happen on the buses, right? Because the character and the way people use the service on a particular route is different from a particular route. So it's very important that you record, maybe if you not use that word data, big data, that you record everything that happens on your business or your social enterprise every single day, because it will influence the next day's decision. For social media, right, or technology, it comes with its own pros and cons, right? For the young and the adolescents, I would say that exposing them too early or not exposing them without proper education can be of disadvantage to them, because they're just open to a lot of information out there and they don't know how to process that information. And the cons there is that that allowed a lot of individuals to discover their skills or develop their skills. A lot of businesses to showcase their businesses and to get more customers. So yes, there are both pros and cons, and it depends on how we use it. And so our job is just to make sure that we educate the younger ones or the adolescents on how to use social media effectively.
We have amazing talents, but it's a very, very competitive market. And its main separator in employability is data analytics.
Today, there are a lot of young people with initiatives and ideas that are infiltrating the spaces that we thought were hard to be in. If you look at the current spate of political administrations that are being formed, you have a lot of young Nigerians, being brought into governance. You have a lot of young Nigerians in, the civil society space, in business. And, these people are not just in there for themselves. We've seen a lot of people drive conversations. You have youths driving things like Social Good Lagos and all of this kind of things. So I believe that as time goes on, we're going to only have more young people infiltrate the spaces. And then, we have young people that are enlightened, are very aware of what the global conversations are. And then based on all of this, I'm quite sure that, with conversations like what we're having here, we're collaborating for impact, the synergy is going to continue, the impact work is going to continue, and then we can all bring all of this, initiatives together to ensure that it really does bear dividends for the average Nigerian.
People are more, they're able to see that there's a lot that can be done with social media. For example, if you go on a lot of people's pages now, you see CEO XYZ Empire, ECEO XYZ Empire. People are accepting that, okay, this is a platform I can use to make money or more money for myself. On the other hand, there's also the social conditioning that it creates. A lot of people feel like they see somebody who they look up to, and then the way the person talks, the way the person dresses. Now, if we're saying, okay, don't smoke, but yet they're seeing somebody else who they admire is a smoker, automatically they feel like, okay, it's cool if I do it. If the person does it, I can do it as well, So yeah, it's a little bit of both for me. That's what I feel like.
prayer and our plan is to make sure that come 2030, these goals are achieved. Even though based on statistics, it's saying that it's not going to be achieved by 2030. That's why organizations like us, Social Good Lagos, we're trying to drive the conversation, we're trying to drive the movement, to bring people on board. What can we do to make sure these goals are achieved? These goals are enormous. There are 17 goals, for God's sake. So we're trying to make sure that we don't just sit back and say, okay, let the government do it. And come 2030, I strongly believe that the Sustainable Development Goals will be achieved and Nigeria will join other nations in celebrating the achievement of these goals.
Hope you had fun joining us on the show. Until next week, follow all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ola Plus TV Africa. Stay safe and see you next week.
Oto Ilogbo, a slum in the midst of the city.
This community came into existence in 1993 in the absence of a mass house to the teeming Lagosians. That's why some of us come to this community and create something out of nothing.
This is home to different people who share one thing in common, which is living in deplorable conditions.
No dualization of roads, no drainage, no proper water, no toilets, nothing like school.
If I sick, there is no way to pass. And we don't have antenatal here.
Since when I come this Lagos, now here I've been staying. I have almost 8 children, plus grandchildren now.
I do contest for councillor for 4 times. I contest for local government chairman 2 times. If you people are in the seat, you cannot do the needful. Let people like us be in that seat and make sure that my people benefited in governance.
Premise Friday, 1:30 p.m.
And yes, my country people, you do well, so you join us inside news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. And this not the Coco Bam Bam story we will want some given her onto this very o'clock as it is hot. My name, na Destiny Momo. And yes, so the Niger Center for Disease Control, NCDC, they don't report 0 deaths plus 453 new cases from the coronavirus pandemic outbreak for inside Obodo. NCDC, they opened this matter on Wednesday. And even the health agency, they don't confirm it, say the new cases, they push the nation total infection to reach 47,743. And NCDC then yan say till date 47,743 cases, 9 done they confirmed, and 33,943 cases, and 9 they don't discharge, plus 956 deaths, 9 done they recorded for 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. And then still yan say the 453 new cases they reported from 16 states, Lagos 113, FCT 72, Plateau 59, Enugu 55, Kaduna 38, Ondo 32, Osun 26, Ebonyi 20, Ogun 9, Delta 8, Borno 7, Akwa Ibom 6, Oyo 5, Bauchi 1, Kano 1, and Ekiti Sef gets 1. And yes, so the Federal Executive Council did not approve the sum of 8.49 billion naira for the procurement of 12 items and where they inside the different quantities for the testing of coronavirus pandemic from the Niger Center for Disease Control. And even the Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, Samadis Yans, for State House correspondents, and why they brief them on top decision we then take for this week online cabinet meeting where they chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. And in present the memo to the council on behalf of Obodo Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The minister said the aim now to help the country address community transmits of the pandemic, which don't affect 586 local government areas for the Obodo. And even the health minister Samayan said the materials we go they procured include sample and other kits for diagnostic and use from laboratories. And Yan said plans don't they conclude to get at least one sample collection site for each of the 774 local government areas inside Obodo. And yesterday, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, MH and WUN, they don't summon the federal government to rectify badness for the payment of alawi of health workers nationwide. The national president of the union, Bio Belemoye, Josiah Insamayan, said the federal government, they know about the matter, and in the year and say they go pay them. And Josiah still wants say for the alawi matter and say they never say the union fit they forced to put down their working tools for the protest. And in still year and the federal government make them avoid any industrial begay and make them keep to the agreement where they reach with the union where they never still fulfill from the past.
We entered into agreements with the Federal Ministry of Health, where the Federal Ministry of Health also agreed that there was error in the implementation of the COVID-19 allowances. People who are earning 5,000 that ought to have been prepared on 50% were given 10%. And we, in our traditional way, we didn't immediately rush on to strike. We engaged government, and government has seen that reason. We are believing that, and we hope they will do so. Before they pay the third batch, that correction would be made. Thank God the press is here. I want to make a very bright appeal to Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Health, as well as the Nigerian government. Do not lead us into temptation. We have been asking for, we entered into agreement with government 2017, 30th September. It has not been fulfilled. We have gone into another agreement of COVID-19 hazard allowances. It was not properly implemented, and the government, the good factor of this government has realized that yes, we were right, there was an error. Therefore, the temptation to deny us or to pay the June and then refuse to pay that difference, that shortfall, is enough temptation to even cause a world war.
And yesterday, the socio-economic facet of Ekiti State, then the small they recover after 4 months of lockdown. Private sector coalition against the COVID-19, where they could name COVID. They don't donate food palliative to 1.6 million Ekiti citizens. The items way before indigent Ekiti residents have been targeted to take a help the bad effects of the highly degraded economy and sake of the dragged lockdown and with the shell sake of the spread of the deadly COVID-19 across the country for beneficiaries. COVID representative Kayode Ade Juyigbe and we yarn for Ado Ekiti when they hand over the food relief, so the coalition they target total of 10 million poor Nigerians as beneficiaries for the economic program, and then the people make them keep to the outlined COVID-19 protocol as it take day enunciated by NCDC to take a summer the tide for this badness disease.
The fight for survival has become a necessity, and it is not just the responsibility of the government, it is our collective responsibility, and we all must join to fight to stay alive. The COVID National Food Relief Program, which will see the distribution of various food items to over 1.6 million families, that is, over 10 million Nigerians across.
And yes, so when the consignment, the governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, he appreciate the support to say the people then they're very happy and for the coalition. Sake of it could go a long way to reduce their suffering under this present badness situation. And the governor already represented by the Secretary of the State Government, Biodun Oyebanji, in Sama said the gesture will still fortify public-private partnership for the development of the state.
I can assure Kakovit that this item will be judiciously distributed. The beauty of the Ekiti State approach is that we have put in place a very robust and rigorous tracking and feedback mechanism to ensure that consignments get to the doorsteps of beneficiaries in accordance with COVID-19 guidelines on social distancing. We don't congregate them,
we take it to their doorsteps. And this is being done by a list of volunteers of Ekiti citizens that sees this as corporate social responsibility.
The food item given to us is a welcome development, and we thank them for this type of initiative. We pray that Ekiti will be devoid of this COVID-19.
I give thanks to Don Kayo de Fayemi for take care of the people. That's their hand, they are not equal. May God bless him and may God reward him about that.
And even the governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, don't promise to make sure the safety of students and teachers for the state and they through the provide of safety equipment. Fayemi yarn when he been they inspect some schools for the state and before the planned reopening of schools and before West African secondary certificate exam. The governor has been there accompanied for the tour by the Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, Evangelist Folosho Daramola, and other top officials of the ministry. And yes, to join us discuss this matter, now he Eden and will be safety consultant inside Lagos. Mr. Ahi, will they hail you this Kajad morning?
Sister Halo, how are you there?
We full ground. Thank you. So you join our Bonga News this Kajad day. And what do you think? And you think say it is right for this time for the governor to take government to take reopen schools?
For me, this matter it get as a B because many people they discuss them for so many ways. And when you look the position when government take and the position when other people they take, nobody they right, nobody they wrong. Government they look say they don't put protocols enough in place when people say they fit open school if they follow those guidelines. But what thing we they talk about from safety perspective say even adults where they give guidelines, they don't feel follow guidelines. Compliance to protocol, adults not feel follow. How much more children when we say that they school, how do they follow those guidelines? And other people they talk about say, yes, we keep the children for house. How about the ignorance when they loom ahead? Yes, we agree. But what we they talk about say, as they want open school, so make them look again, consult all experts of waiting everybody fit do. Because many people, many families see they weary how to send Peking to school. No child for this world will go access education at the expense of his or her own life. Because with the rush to go back to school, so any parents when they lose any child, that agony will remain for a very long time.
Natural.
It would be better make the parent keep Peking for house than say Peking go school, go contact coronavirus disease. So as they say, maybe the senior class they come to do exams, so that one they good. Okay. But make them go in batches. Maybe say the school is not too crowded. They can go in cohorts, come back, do the exam, come back. But after that, make we wait for a little time. See how this COVID-19 don't come down before we send everybody back to school. But that's a position when we maintain.
Okay, I mean, they discussed with somebody yesterday and then talk, say, for Scotland, Aberdeen, and say they don't notice, say, the spread don't continue. So they don't already lock Aberdeen, will be oil states inside of Obodo Ibo. So how you take things, say, the reopening of even airports inside of Obodo Nigeria go be? Because it be like, say, plans there to reopen airports where they do international flights, plus this local flights that we don't shell now. How you take things, say, this matter go be last as safety experts where you be?
Make a quick throw light for when WHO don't talk about those Aberdeen issue. Children on their own right now, before the research when first come and say children they don't feel contact coronavirus easily. But across many countries like the US, like Aberdeen, even in different part of Europe, when they open school, they don't see how the surge don't they high for children. Children feel contact coronavirus this time around, so they know they close down the schools again. So now waiting, we don't want to go through. But for the flight when we won't open, so that thing they fear me. Okay. We know if they open airport for international flights when we say the risk still they high for this country. One, our infection rate never they go down, and now you will see people when they come from higher risk countries. When we say, I mean, take a country like Brazil, a country like America, when we say infection rate they on the very high side, then flight carry person from that country to Nigeria is a high risk for Nigeria because the infection rate for America is they higher than that of Nigeria. As WHO and United Nations don't talk, say make we look the risk. Example be say person when they fly from assuming Nigeria now to go America. You know, they carry risk go America. Why? Because America infection rate is higher than Nigeria infection rate. But when you see flights when they come from America, which of course is a very high risk country, and they come to Nigeria, they bring more infection to Nigeria. So the risk is higher. So as we want to open airports, so I don't know how we'll manage them, because with the battle within day with us internally, and with the open our airspace to people when they high risk to come, it go get us a bit, because this now trouble. Now they use this one they look for so.
Okay, so now as everything don't take be now, where it be say even WHO they don't take they don't somehow say it be like say the matter don't they reduce, and it be like say be from person to person where it happen again, say isolation plus all those quarantine thing, say it go soon stop. What thing as safety experts you get to talk about this matter?
Well, Dana recent studies when they come out, but make we wait, see the surge, it go down a little more. Yes. They don't talk about those protocols also, which of course for that report when it come out. But make we also try as a people, because don't be say that WHO just write something, come out and say we say okay, WHO don't talk so now waiting, okay, now so it be. But what about our country? Waiting we they do those protocols when we say make we follow. Now WHO now design those protocols, compliance, because it worry me when we say I come out, I enter car, drive around the town, and they see people they walk around this Lagos, like say coronavirus don't finish. It worry me, because as it be so, all of us we get our own part to play for this game. Maybe say you play your own part, I play my own part for us to drive the infection rate down. This is what we're supposed to do. Yes, WHO don't talk so, but we as a people we also get our own role to play for this infection rate to go down for our country.
Okay, one last question because of time, Mr. Ehi. And so now, as this matter don't take be like this, now what you go advise parents where they are picking them still go write this WAEC and every and so that they go still they kajat where then they.
I advise say as parents when they say that go write WAEC, not rely on school to give protective equipment to your children. Okay. You yourself give your children what they need to go school. My pikin also supposed to go write JSS exam. Okay. They don't. Don't talk they gone along those lines. For me, what I got to do, I got to buy them nose mask, buy them face shield, buy them sanitizers, make it a go school. So I educate them on waiting supposed to happen. So parents, before you send your pikin go school, sit them down, educate them on waiting be this issue. What did they stand to lose? What did they go do to prevent themselves from catching this virus? And then I will not wait for government or wait for the school to help you to do this one. Once they know what to do, as they come back every day for school, sit down, ask them what happen. Will you do this? You do this. You do this. Clothes when they use go school, come back. Take those clothes, put them for outside, wash them before you bring into house. And those that one they simple. But what about those when they body house? Now that one I be the cocoa of the matter. Because now that they go by the house, but they have to create for maybe 20 students in the hall or whatever, or 10 students in the room or a hall, whatever. How they won't do it? Because you don't feel reduce the number. How you want to do? Maintain social distance for those people. That's where the fear day for everybody. For their students, we feel manage for boarding house. If they give us headache.
Mr. Hidon, thank you so much. Say you give us this Obonga information on how we go take Duam for picking them with this school and even for airport matter and where they want open make you get Kaja Day. And thank you so much for your contribution for our Obonga news. And yes, so as the news they continue, 94 Bono Nigeria girls where they stranded for Lebanon, they don't reach we country. The returnees included 30 girls who have been there inside viral video where they been a call on government assistance to take return back to Obodo Nigeria. And then welcome them on arrival by the Chemo Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabire, where they joined by the Senior Special Assistant to Oyo State Government on top diaspora, Bolanle Sarumi Aliyu, with representatives of NEMA plus a NAPTIP. And when I'm in the yarn with reporters, Dabire Erewa, she thanked the federal government, as they take a range special flight to bring the girls to come back house. And according to her, besides the 94, we don't come back, another 104, and then they expected to return in few days' time. And the special assistant to the Oyo State government don't confirm it, say 55 Oyo State indigents, say then they among the returnees. And yes, so and the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole, they don't destroy Boko Haram terrorist logistics storage facility, and they still wipe out plenty of their fighters for Yamud along the Gulumba Ghana Kumshe axis for inside the Borno state. The coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, yarned this one for statement on Wednesday inside Abuja. In Samayan, said the operation they executed for August 11 sake of credible intelligence reports. And the report reveals say the settlement now one of the locations where the terrorists they store their logistics and where then they gather to take a launch attack. And according to him, plenty follow-up area surveillance mission still they show significant number of terrorists inside the settlement, and he still they identify some compounds where then they use as storage facility and the meeting place. And even self Nasarawa State Police Command and Samayan say they don't arrest suspected killers of Amos Ewa Obere, maybe the late village head of Odu community inside Udege Develop area of Nasarawa local government area council of the state. The State Commissioner of Police, Bola Longe Samayan, said the suspect self then they responsible for plenty high-profile kidnap for the state. And Longe said the late village head say in the attack for in house by armed men with storm in house for Odu community.
Not those who kidnapped the camp chairman alone, we have been able to arrest. We have arrested those who kidnapped the deputy registrar, the state deputy chief registrar, the state high court. We have arrested those who kidnapped the wife of the Egon youth leaders. One of the killers of the village head of Odu in Nasarawa local government council. Not the killer of that man alone. They kidnapped the children of one of the traditional rulers. And they kidnapped some people that were coming from Benue State. We have arrested them. They are members of dangerous kidnapping and banditry group. But with their arrest, we have been able to disconnect, to dislocate, and to mollify the aggressiveness of this criminal element.
And yes, so members of the newly launched Amotekun Corps for Ondo State, they don't task to carry out their work without any begay, plus make sure say security of life and property of the people of the state they kajad. A commander of Amotekun Corps for Ondo State, Ade Adeleye, in some of this advice to the passing out ceremony of the pioneer Amotekun Corps officers for the state. Adeleye has been sit down with the men and on the train them inside intelligence gathering and in the handle of non-firearms, crowd control, plus other things. And it's still stress, say new policies get to be developed and watertight strategies so they get to adopt them and really capable to take arrest crime even before then shell. And even self the commander Yan say no criminal elements could they allowed to trouble the relative peace and when they enjoy for the state and sake of the Amotekun Corps, then they start operation sharp.
No doubt a demonstration of good leadership as the chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum, but also a strong commitment to the safety and welfare of the good people of Ondo State. Let me at this junction reiterate our resolve on zero tolerance to crime within the state. Through robust intelligence sharing with our security agencies, as we go along in the effort to reduce the spate of criminality in our environments.
They are set up and backed up by law. As noted by the Corps Commandant, we are not a parallel security structure to any of the security agencies. Rather, Amotekun Corps is a complementary corps. We are to complement what is on ground so that together we can achieve the goal of a safer environment conducive enough to encourage foreign investors and rid our state of all forms of crime and criminally minded elements.
And yes, so inside the Border Africa Tory, Mauritius Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth, then Samayan on Wednesday say almost all the oil now, so they don't removed from a damaged Japanese ship, and we don't leak estimated 1,000 tons of oil take come out from the Mauritius coast, and they don't come out all the fuel from the tank, but some residues still there for parts of the ship. And in office Nigerian this one. The ship Sama Reef and enter aground that come out from the Indian Ocean Island southeast coast for July 25, and it can start to leak oil from last Thursday, August 6. Volunteers from Mahebog waterfronts then they speed up effort to prepare for heavy toxic oil spill on Wednesday. As in the fear say the damaged ship we don't pollute the water, say if it break into two. And yes, on top of Obituary, one Brazilian technology institute on Wednesday say and then they expect to produce controversial coronavirus Russian vaccine and from the second half of 2021, shortly after the state of Parana been signed memorandum of understanding with Moscow. And Russia and the done data and sake of the world first register coronavirus vaccine, although experts say don't raise safety concerns and sake of them go market, while other pharmaceutical companies then still carry out mass testing. And Parana Technology Institute, where then they call TechPar, say them fit import the vaccine earlier than the production date if Brazil Federal Health Regulator and Visa approve the vaccine. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and a new running mate U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, they don't work out their first appearance as one ticket on Wednesday inside Wilmington, Delaware, as the campaign for the White House don't enter more ogbonge phase. The two of them deliver remark just days before Biden formally accept the Democratic presidential nominate during the party national convention, and where Shele go well as an online event next week due to the coronavirus pandemic.
I approach this with a seriousness of purpose and of mind because this is a serious moment for our nation. We're at one of those inflection points. You've heard me say that before in our history. A life-changing election for this nation. And the choice we make this November is going to decide the future of America for a very, very long time. And I had a great choice, great opportunities. I had a great choice, but I have no doubt that I picked the right person to join me as the next Vice President of the United States of America, and that's Senator Kamala Harris.
As I said, Joe, when you called me, I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work. I am ready to get to work. After the most competitive primary in history, the country received a resounding message that Joe was the person to lead us forward. And Joe, I'm so proud to stand with you. And I do so mindful of all the heroic and ambitious women before me, whose sacrifice, determination, and resilience makes my presence here today even possible.
And it was a former United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Walter Carrington, in Dundee. And this one they confirmed for statements where they signed by his wife, Arrest Carrington. She writes, saying, "Now with heavy and broken heart, but with gratitude to God for a life of selfless humanity," and where she announced the passing of her beloved husband, Walter Carrington, will be former U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria and Senegal, end of quote, and he'll be 90 years. And yes, on top business story, South Africa Mines Minister, they don't withdraw one appeal for court's ruling, and we say mining companies they no get to maintain at least 26% black ownership for Bunge Minerals Council industry and body and this one on Wednesday. And South Africa mining sector will be the world's biggest producer of chrome ore, and then they account for around 70% of the global mine platinum supply. It only battered by muddy policies where they rise cost and monotonous foreign investment. The Minerals Council say then they're very happy with the decide, and we now mean say the order good day kajad. And yes, so still for front on Top Plus TV African News. Now our roundup on Top Jolly Entertainment Story plus Sports Waka. We go return just now.
Quality wire, and quality cables. Quality cables. Quality wire, quality cables. Quality cables. Coleman won't light up your life, brother, sister. Original quality wire, where they can't pay. Cable for any type of project, delay. Light up your life, light up your house. Coleman won't light up your life. Coleman, see, who be the master for cable? Coleman, who be the master for wire? Original quality cable. When you feature for any kind of project, original quality, durable, trustable.
Say it go help make their future production very, very encouraging invitation and from the Russo brothers to the global premiere of their upcoming sequel, Extraction 2. And on top sports waka, the UEFA Champions League knockout stage, they produce great drama, and the single game format for this season quarterfinals, it don't intensify the emotions. On Wednesday, Paris Saint-Germain PSG strike 2 times for the final minutes to take end the fairy tale for debutant Atalanta. And although the team from Bergamo been never qualified for the Champions League before, they've been there a moment away from the glory. And PSG been struck 2 times with Brazilian defender Marquinhos, who scored for the 90th minute before substitute Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting agree for the contest for stoppage time. And Atalanta then the hope for glory, they suddenly snatched from their hand. And that now our Bonga news for this time. I make a leave on out to breathe fresh air because they bring more background to take come on at the mot. For more news informate, make on join us for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Plus, you go make up Bonga sense if you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. Always put your DSTV for channel 408 for more Ubonga Tori. And don't forget to stay very, very safe. My name na Destiny Momo.
Is indeed beautiful. It is an expression of our creative imagination and in some cases technical skills. And that is why today we are at Nimbus Art Gallery on this episode of Not Your 9 to 5 show, where we feature Mr. Chike Mwabogu, an accountant turned art collector and dealer.
The important thing about destiny is that you're prepared for things without knowing. And studying accounting actually was a fantastic foundation for me for what I'm doing now without knowing. I was never going to be a chartered accountant. Basically, studying accounting gave me an entry into a disciplined profession. And what I found from my own, little adventures in the arts is that all disciplines are related. So art is really very related to accounting. I quit accounting primarily because I didn't have passion for accounting. Before I studied accounting, my passion was for the arts, and because I had parents who were very conservative, Igbo from Onitsha, they wanted, a child who would study something that he could fall back on, who would get him into the system and a steady job and, a paid employment, something that was a playbook that they were used to. But I felt that, I wanted to follow my passion, and wherever it led me would be where I would land. But I had a belief that following your passion is, like following your heart. If it's truly focused in the right place, it will lead you to great love. And that is what it's led me to. So I have no regrets about following my passion. And in a funny sort of way, you know, destiny has brought me back in contact with my discipline, because although I don't have passion for accounting, I've had to apply those principles of accounting into my passion, which is, you know, for creativity, and hopefully to inspire others to be even more creative than myself. I'm not an art collector per se. I'm more like an art dealer who collects, you know. So a dealer who collects is enthusiastic about life, sees potential in almost anything that is remotely creative. And I think that's the great thing about being alive. You're alive to things all around you. And although there's some things that don't have life as we know it, the inherent creativity in them gives them a type of life that draws you. So being a collector or dealer, I would say, is akin to, you know, there's a parable in the Christian Bible that talks about a man who found a great treasure in a field and sold all he had and bought that field in order to have that great treasure. So being an art collector is very similar to finding a thing of great value and literally abandoning everything else to pursue this beautiful treasure. And here at Nimbus Art Gallery at Obituary House, our mission is to try and basically influence a new wave of cultural expression that is rooted in African culture, African expression, African mythology and science. So for example, what I'm wearing becomes wearable art. It becomes an expression of high culture from Africa. It shows a contemporary African who is aware that he's in Africa. It's quite hot, so this is aerodynamic. You can cool yourself off, you know, scientifically, you know, dynamically. It's got pockets that are aerodynamic. It can, you know, and it looks, I hope, quite interesting to an African or a non-African. The same way, when this becomes old and tired, the African who has no separation between what he wears and what he admires and what he sees on his wall, the scraps are used by this particular artist, Franklin Wabweze, to create a collage of magnificent art that expresses the beauty of the African woman. You can see that this has been recreated from off-cut fabrics, cutaways, from his mother's sewing scrap yard, and he basically transformed these into beautiful paintings. So the whole point of art to the African is to use, not just to the African, to everybody who is truly creative, is to use your surroundings to express a high sense of creativity, you know. And this is epitomized greatly by the works of Franklin Wabweze. And if you take your camera just beyond me, you'll see some larger works by this same artist that embodies what it means to be a creative young person in Africa. When you see the texture, you feel this is all, I mean, this is all created with fabrics. And the title of this work is The Audacity of Youth. You know, and it's a remarkable work because it was the first in the series of paintings created by this young artist in 2017. What happened was, if I can just jump across here so you can have a better view of the painting, is that this young man ran out of oils and acrylics to work with. He ran out of money. He wanted to express himself creatively, but the exchange rate and the import duties for acrylics from Europe and oil colors from wherever meant that he was stuck in the mud. He could not continue to pursue his artistic ambitions because he couldn't afford it. It became a basically a no way forward venture because it cost more to produce the work than he could sell them for because of the high cost of materials. So he came to me because I'd seen a bit of quite some talent in him and in his works, but he was swimming against the tide. And I said to the young guy, listen, Franklin, try to find your own expression, find your own way. Stop painting, basically. Try to find another way to express yourself. I thought I was just giving him some encouragement. He came back a few months later with a collection of work that included this. He told me that he went home that day or a few days after and was stuck. And when he couldn't get any materials to work with, he went into his mother's sewing room. She's a seamstress. And in a moment of, magic, eureka, whatever, metanoia, he saw all the scraps as a kaleidoscope of colors. And in that moment, he started, a new art form was born where he just used the fabrics to create these wonderful paintings. And it's taking the Lagos and international art scene literally by storm. We're yet to appear in some of the bigger art festivals around, but I think the important thing is to nurture talent and to watch it grow. And he is now sitting on the same wall, perched on the same wall as legends like Lemi Garioku, Fela Kuti's artist, Duke Asidere, Nat Okoro, Godwin Adesoye, Segun Ayeson, and of course, the modern day master, Tola Wewe, who literally, created this rebirth of mythology, folklore, and merged it with the visual arts to have this unequaled local expression of global knowledge. Because in his paintings are generations of stories and messages about the African way and the beauty of the African experience. So, just being involved with artists is one of the great pleasures of living in Lagos. And I think sometimes it's just good to take our heads out of the computers or out of our phones and experience the art of life. I think that is really what being alive is all about. Smelling it. How did this all begin? Well, organically, I'd say one step at a time. One thing always leads to another. And I found that one right step leads to another right step, and vice versa. So the important thing about beginnings is that it takes one step, then another. It all seems very, scary because it's uncharted. But if you take that leap of faith, you'll be amazed how that net will catch you and you will just fall into the arms of destiny. And that thing you thought was impossible becomes a reality. So this was a dream. I always felt that from, my boyhood days, it would be a great thing to have an organization like this that is a physical attraction to other people and inspires their own creativity. And, we started as the Nimbus Art Gallery, a small space on Ribadu Road, when I basically realized that having an art gallery in Surulere in my mother's restaurant was not going to, get me there. So basically this great idea of mine started very humbly, and it basically morphed into this, what we like to call entity. that is akin to, it has its own spirit, it has its own life, that it has its own, we've been going for 15 years, and the whole idea is to try to have a Guggenheim effect on the community. I just want to use that expression because it's an expression that, you know, it's just jargon. But basically, the Guggenheim effect is, take a city like Bilbao, little known, you know, I don't know how many hundred or how many thousand people are there, but it's just a little place. But, you know, it has an interesting museum that has some of the classic works of European art. So in order to generate a catalyst or have a catalyst for regeneration, the great idea was to have these galleries in these strange cities. So with time, with a Guggenheim a gallery that shows Picasso's, Rembrandt, whatever you have of European contemporary art, you know, it has a multiplier effect on the community. Restaurants, bars start opening up to cater for the influx of people to see this great art. So in a similar kind of way, we're hoping that this artistic expression of real African creativity can be an allure or a spiritual attraction to Lagos, Southwest Ikoyi, and with our many tentacles, we culturally, we will be able to connect visitors to this city to culturally relevant places like, you know, other galleries, cultural centers, you know, venues for live music like the New Africa Shrine. So it would be it is an important interface for anyone who wants to be in tune with the vibe of Lagos. So, in the nutshell, this is not really a job. This is a way of life. It's a way of living. It's an expression of true passion in a way that, you know, only an African can express it. In the same way that a Chinese person can only express their culture in the way they know. And I think it's an abundance of joy on a daily, minute-by-minute basis. It's not without its struggles, but I don't have my pay week or my salary week to look forward to. Literally every day is potentially salary week, pay week, or golden fleece week. So it's an exercise of a daily ritual of excitement. Every day is different, Only God knows what the rest of the day is going to bring. But the truth is, whatever it's going to bring, I think we're prepared for it. Not that we have the strength to do it, but it's the adventure that we all talk about. I was thinking the other day, what is it like to have a job? I've never had a job. I've always had passion for life. And, once you have passion for life, every day is filled with excitement. Some people have a job, but it's, it's a life of choice. It's good for some, but for me, I think the job of life is far better than the life of having a job. The joy of living, the good things of life, starts when you lose your job or when you don't have a job, because the sky is not even the limit. You have no limits. You can create your own sky or your own limits or your own windows. Like that advert says, just do it, but do it right. Okay, challenges. Well, where can I start? Electricity, diesel, generators, infrastructure. That's the main challenge. But I think the challenges are opportunities to find better ways, more efficient ways to operate. So there will always be challenges. But I'm kind of maybe a half full as opposed to a half empty kind of person. I see the gaps in between the challenges as opposed to the challenges themselves. So the challenge is always going to be there, but the best thing about it is to focus on what is not a challenge, or the opportunity that these challenges may well, bring up. So from that point of view, challenges are opportunities, and I respect that. As a matter of fact, a lot of the opportunities, a lot of the breakthroughs that have happened as a result of being here have come from challenges. And I think sometimes if you embrace your challenges and work through them, they turn into great opportunities, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because challenges ways to make you, when your back is on the wall, you think of better ways, more efficient ways to get things done. So challenges are always going to be there, but I think the best thing about it is the joys of overcoming those challenges, because not everybody can. And when you're able to, the challenges then become blessings. My knowledge of accounting has been invaluable to me all these years, because not just about keeping proper books, the importance of understanding some principles in accounting, like the relevance or the benefits of not always having to make a paper profit, and the joy of goodwill, or a system that works, that that is the foundations of accounting. Right. My name is Chike Wabogu. This is not your regular 9 to 5, I realize. However, this is my life.
If you think that was mind-blowing, wait for another surprise as we head out to meet with Yomi Williams, who left oil and gas to begin a new way of farming, more technologically inclined, called agroponics, which is growing without soil. In his case, he uses cocoa coir. Let's find out how he does that exactly.
My name is Yomi Williams, and I'm Group CEO of Gartner Callaway. Gartner Callaway is a group of companies focused on agricultural engineering, procurement and distribution, and soft commodity trade. For a long time, I worked in the oil and gas sector as a trader when I first returned from the UK. And after a year of working for a company, I decided to start trading on my own. And I worked in that sector for a long time, for over 10 years, before diversifying to a more sustainable industry, as I'd like to put it, which is more of the ag-tech industry, which is slightly different from your conventional, traditional agricultural industry. It's more focused on technology applications that you apply to different aspects of agriculture. So hydroponics is basically growing without soil. When I said I quit my job, it was a reaction of mixed feelings. Are you sure? Because they didn't really understand what I was talking about. And I had to sort of show and prove. So when we started Gatna Callaway, it wasn't by setting up the city farm straight away. We were working with a lot of smaller systems. So obviously I had to show that the smaller systems worked. So that now gave a lot of family members and people close to me a lot more confidence. And they actually understood what I was talking about. Not that that really mattered to me anyway, to be honest, because in my own head I was clear about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve. Our current challenge now is human capital. And it's more to do with knowledge. I mean, even your normal agriculture student doesn't understand hydroponics. So going through the motions of training, getting staff to understand the names of plants, what they're used for, what they're good for, how to take care of them, how to prune them, when to prune them, understanding planting schedules, all those different operational factors. That's where we have, I'd say, challenges. Okay, let me take you around the farm and show you other aspects of the farm and production. Agricultural revolution that's happening globally, where you're finding a lot of farms closer to areas of consumption. So on this farm, for example, we have two systems that we use, and the farm is split into 3 sections. So we have the grow bags. Now in grow bags, they provide horizontal density in the sense that on this line now, you have 100 bags growing 400 plants. And these are 15-gallon grow bags. This is a 200-gallon grow bag. And yeah, you can touch it. So this bag, for example, now, you can fit 20 to 50 plants in a 4-foot radius, depending on what you're growing. You can grow tubers, you can grow yam in this bag, because it has a 4-foot depth. We just folded it. So when you unfold it, it's about 4 feet high, which is more than enough to grow a yam tuber in it. So the grow bags are beautiful in the sense that they can grow in fact, they can grow anything, even trees. The whole idea for this farm was to sell retail as opposed to wholesale. So our bigger farm in Ekpe that we're working on is more of where a lot of our wholesale products will come from. So this really was for individuals and restaurants around us, which we currently supply. So in terms of plants that we grow, so we specialize mainly in niche vegetables and herbs. So naturally, the kinds of vegetables and herbs that are imported into Nigeria from places like France, Europe, which are like your lettuces, your parsley, coriander, things that generally are difficult to grow in our climate, but are used by a lot of middle class, upper class individuals and a lot of the commercial companies. So over here we're growing Malabar spinach, and the local variety of this, I believe, is Amunu Tutu. So that's what this is. So we harvest this and we sell the spinach to our customers as well. So each section on the farm has its own irrigation controller and irrigation system. Then these are the nutrients. So they come in powder form, undiluted, which we have to dilute. So this is our mix A, mix B, potassium, mix C, calcium. lot of research has gone into development of this system and this structure. And it's a model that was built by us at Gartner Callaway, suited to the Africa condition. And when I say a lot of research, I mean a lot of research in terms of 4 years and still ongoing, because we continuously engage in a lot of research and development. And it's more technical than a lot might actually think, even in terms of the spacing. So if you look at the spacing now, each row has 6 feet between rows. Then each double tower has 4 feet between each tower and 2 feet across. My name is Yomi Williams. I'm Group CEO of Gartner Callaway. This is not your regular 9 to 5. This is my life. Everyday growing, everyday harvest, everyday planting.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Annetta Felix. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has reported 0 deaths and 453 new cases from the novel coronavirus pandemic in the country. The NCDC made this known on Wednesday. The health agency confirmed that the new cases pushes the nation's total infections to 47,743. The NCDC said to date, 47,743 cases have been confirmed, 33,943 cases have been discharged, and 956 deaths have been recorded in 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. It stated that the 453 new cases were reported from 16 states, Lagos with 113, FCT with 72, Plateau 59, Enugu 55, Kano 38, Ondo 32, Osun 26, Ebonyi 20, Ogun 9, Delta 8, Borno 7, Akwa Ibom 6, Oyo 5, Bauchi 1, Kano 1, and Ekiti 1. The Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of 8.49 billion naira for the procurement of 12 items in various quantities for the testing of COVID-19 pandemic by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, disclosed this to State House correspondents while briefing them on decisions reached at this week's virtual cabinet meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. He presented the memo to the Council on behalf of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The minister said the aim is to help the country address community transmission of the pandemic, which has affected 586 local government areas of the country. The health minister said the materials to be procured include sample and other kits for diagnostics for use by laboratories. He said plans have been concluded to have at least one sample collection site in each of the 774 local government areas across the country. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has reiterated that coronavirus was not a disease for the elites, as been labeled by a section of Nigerians. Mohammed said that in spite of all efforts of the government through the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, some people still live in denial that the disease was real and deadly. He warned that there was no known cure or vaccine for COVID-19 yet, but non-medication strategies, including personal hygiene, social and physical distancing, and wearing a face mask are still very much encouraged. The minister thanked the media for their selfless efforts and sacrifice in sensitizing Nigerians to the dangers of contracting the virus. The federal government has appealed to the world powers not to be weighed by unsubstantiated arguments to deny the country vital platforms and weapons to fight insecurity. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, made the appeal on Thursday in Abuja. The minister said for Nigerians to fairly assess the efforts of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in the fight against insecurity, they should compare where the country was pre-2015 and today. The Nasarawa State Police Command says it has arrested suspected killers of Amos Ewalbiri, the late village head of Odu community in Udegi Development Area of Nasarawa Local Government Council of the state. The State Commissioner of Police, Bola Longem, says the suspects were also responsible for several high-profile kidnappings in the state. Longem said the late village head was attacked in his house by armed men who stormed his residence in Odu community.
Not those who kidnapped the camp chairman alone we have been able to arrest. We have arrested those who kidnapped the deputy registrar, the state deputy chief registrar, the state high court. We have arrested those who kidnapped the wife of the Egon youth leaders. One of the killers of the village head of Odu in Nasarawa Local Government Council. Not the killer of that man alone. They kidnapped the children of one of the traditional rulers. And they kidnapped some people that were coming from Benue State. We have arrested them. They are members of dangerous kidnapping and banditry group. But with their arrest, we have been able to disconnect, to dislocate, and to mollify the aggressiveness of this criminal element.
A former United States ambassador to Nigeria, Walter Carrington, is dead. This was confirmed in a statement signed by his wife, Aris Carrington. She wrote, quote, "It is with a heavy and broken heart, but with gratitude to God for his life of selfless humanity, that I announce the passing of my beloved husband, Walter Carrington, former U.S. ambassador to Nigeria and Senegal," end of quote. Carrington was aged 90. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over the demise of former United States ambassador to Nigeria, Walter Carrington, describing him as a longtime friend of Nigeria and an astute and courageous diplomat. The president said this in a statement signed by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, in Abuja on Wednesday. In his tribute, he praised the late ambassador, whom he said openly supported the people of this country when the fought for the return of democracy following the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential elections won by the late Moshood Abiola. And in the same vein, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has mourned the passing of former United States ambassador to Nigeria, Walter Carrington. Carrington was confirmed dead by his wife, Aris, on Wednesday. The 90-year-old reportedly died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones on Tuesday. Reacting, Atiku on Twitter said the diplomat who played a pivotal role in the USA's assistance in establishing democratic rule in Nigeria will be missed dearly. The University of Lagos Unilag Governing Council has named Professor Theophilus Shoyombo as acting Vice-Chancellor to replace Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, who was removed on Wednesday over allegations of misconduct and others. Shoyombo's appointment was announced in a statement by the Registrar and Secretary to Council, Oladejo Aziz, who also noted that Ogundipe was lawfully removed by the council. Ogundipe had described his removal as null and void, saying it did not follow the process for removal as contained in Section 17 of the University of Lagos Act. However, Aziz noted that the council decided on Shoyombo, who is of the Faculty of Social Sciences, at the same meeting where Ogundipe was removed. Meanwhile, the UNILAG chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has summoned an emergency congress for Thursday at the council chamber to discuss Ogundipe's removal. The union condemned Ogundipe's removal, accusing the governing council chairman, Dr. Wale Babalaki, of masterminding it. To discuss further the leadership tussle in the University of Lagos, we have with us senior editor of Plus TV Africa, Kayode Ladende, and of course, alumnus of the University of Lagos. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So we'd like to ask you, what do you think is really playing out in the University of Lagos at this time?
It's sad. You know, we're just coming out of the crisis when it comes to NMA. You remember what happened in Enugu, and people were like, we thought it's only among the political class you have this kind of politics. But now we have a similitude of what is going on in University of Lagos. And I quickly want to remind those people who probably are not following up the story. Now, this is a clear case of face-off between the pro-chancellor, that is Babalaki, Wale Babalaki, and that of the allegedly embattled vice-chancellor, that's Professor Ogundipe, because as far as it's concerned, he remains the vice-chancellor until this morning when we learned that the acting vice-chancellor has been appointed, that's Professor Shoyombo. It is important to place it on record that this was a case of, we got a notice, we got a press release saying that we should not address Ogundipe as the VC, that he has been removed. And that was coming from the registrar. Few hours later, not only that the governing council announced that Ogundipe is still the VC, we also saw Ogundipe signed a document to say that it remains the VC, that if at all is going to be removed, it has to follow the necessary extant laws that guides the removal of VC, that the VC can only be removed by the president or can be removed by some kind of process. But at the end of the day, we also saw the Ministry of Education saying that they have not been briefed about the whole idea. So where is this instruction coming up? Where is it coming from? We've tried to speak to some top professors in the schools. A whole lot of them have refused to speak to us. We tried to even get their attention to speak to us. But our correspondent has gone to school to see whether she will make some progress in getting their attention. But I think we need to put it on record. I think this is more of a personal vendetta rather than following the due process. I think it's a case of the pro-chancellor is not being given enough room to operate the way he wants to operate. But for me, I've left school for more than, maybe more than 15 years now. My master's was in UNILAG. I didn't really do my first degree in UNILAG. But my worry is I hardly see pro-chancellor removing the vice-chancellor, if my memory serves me right. And I, for now, no document shows that it is the pro-chancellor that is behind this whole thing. But it is easy for us to infer that this must be coming from these quarters, looking at the recent history between the pro-chancellor and the vice-chancellor.
All right. We see the University Governing Council saying that he's been removed on allegations of misconduct. The letter you received, did it have any specifics or details of the misconducts that Ogundipe has been charged with? That's
exactly what Ogundipe also mentioned, that you need to state what the misconduct is all about. But it's sad because that's also one of the things we see in our political parlance, where you say somebody has been removed for gross misconduct, and sometimes they will add embezzlement of funds without substantiating what is gross misconduct. Where that applies in our constitution is that the constitution did not also state what constitutes gross misconduct. Is that what is happening in university too? I don't think that is right. But the feelers we're getting is that a good number of people, the Senate and good number of people in the school are against what is going on. That's the removal of the VC. And the Senate should not be relegated in this discourse. The governing council should not be relegated in this discourse. Let us follow due process. For what reason? If somebody is not playing to your tunes, the university has some kind of autonomy, and they should allow them to do that autonomy. It shouldn't be a tool for power play between the pro-chancellor and that of the vice-chancellor. The vice-chancellor is actually the operating head of administration, and I don't think he needs to stoop to the pro-chancellor for him to succeed. That is unnecessary. We've had series of cases for, like the school I went to, we have emirs, we have monarchs being called pro-chancellor. So it's more of a ceremonial thing, and it shouldn't be beyond that.
And when ASU eventually meets over this matter, what do we expect from that meeting? Also, what would you recommend should be the way forward from this crisis? Basically,
I do not expect ASU to have a bite in this matter. ASU is the academic staff. I think if there is any union that should have a bigger say in this thing, it should be the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, that's in SANU, who are, most of them are professors. They are more of the senior staff than, though I know there are professors in ASU too. But whatever ASU would do, whatever SANU would do, what is important is that they are all stakeholders, and let the right thing be done. Let us not have power tussle unnecessarily, to the extent that this has even affected the convocation ceremony that was meant to hold before this issue of COVID, where everybody definitely had to go home. So I don't want the proverb to come into place now, where they say when elephants are fighting, it's actually the grass that suffers. But let's hope that our correspondent who has gone to the campus will come up with some updates that would, unravel this issue. And to all the senior lecturers there, we understand that you are not civil servants. We understand that you are public servants, and your expression should be sacrosanct. This is not time to keep mute. This is not time to be scared of anybody victimizing you. This is a wake-up call. Let's know what is really going on. I do not believe that these professors actually are not privy to what is going on.
Thank you very much, Senior Editor here at Plus TV Africa, for you dissecting the issues with the leadership tussle in the University of Lagos. And do trust Plus TV Africa to, of course, bring you the latest updates as the issue unfolds. Moving on now, the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations, NOTN, is targeting an increase in the share of trade in gross domestic product, and that's to 50% by 2023. As of the first quarter in 2020, data from the National Bureau of Statistics gave trade's contribution to nominal GDP as 15.09%, and lower than the 16.95% contribution in the same quarter of the previous year, as well as the preceding quarter's 15.66%. The acting chief trade negotiator, Director General NOTN, Victor Lehman, disclosed this as part of the overview of the newly launched Nigeria Trade Policy Journal. Now, the Trade Office said the trade policy roadmap contains proactive strategies and responsive policy measures to address current and future challenges. We now have joining us a financial expert, Jide Ojo. Hello, Mr. Ojo.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, I believe no sector or industry has been spared from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And for trade in particular in Nigeria, the NBS has revealed that trade's contribution to nominal GDP is 16.95%, which is lower than the contribution of the same quarter the previous year. Could you help us break this down for the layman? What do you think this means for the Nigerian economy?
Well, it means that there is a depreciation in our trade, there is deficit, and we are not progressing. And this is not good for Nigerians' economy, because situations where you are retrogressing, you cannot claim that you are making progress. From 16% this quarter last year down to 15.09%. It's not good enough, but then there are causative factors that are responsible for this. Recall that Since about March 2020, the country has been facing the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected largely the trade, commerce, and many other aspects of sectors of the economy. You talk about the hospitality business, the tourism business, even academia. Many schools have been shut down. Only recently do we have exit classes being reopened for. And all of this contributes to the economy because there are private interest groups, private entrepreneurs in the academic sector from primary to tertiary level. And this has also affected them. The aviation industry, you've heard about the SAC in the aviation sector, the hospitality business is comatose and all of that. So by and large, you cannot blame the fact that the economy is not doing well solely on the government. We never saw the COVID-19 pandemic coming, and it is upon us. We are here to get out of it, but I think it's commendable that the Nigeria Office of Trade Negotiations has come up with this journal, which just launched, the Nigeria Trade Policy Journal, which it aims to use in articulating a roadmap to get out of this quagmire.
Yes, Mr. Ojo, we know that the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations is aiming to increase their share of trade in GDP to 50% by 2023. How do you suggest they can achieve this?
Well, a number of policies needs to come into place. Not only policies, but implementation of external policies. You recall that we are just exiting the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. We now have Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan, which is supposed to be on for another year. Now, you need to also redouble the infrastructure, bridge the infrastructure gap. Let me make it very simple. No matter the roadmap that we have to improve commerce, trade, and industry, without fixing the energy sector, and by energy sector, I mean the power sector, the electricity sector, we may not achieve much because whether you like it or not, even if we are able to develop vaccines for COVID-19 today or before the end of the year, and things are back to normal, without the industry, the manufacturing sector, the ICT sector playing a critical role. Without the digital economy, you may not achieve much. And for you to have a successful and sustainable digital economy, this has to ride on the backbone of electricity. Look at our telecommunication industry.
Well, unfortunately, press for time, sir.
We have a telecommunication industry that is quite epileptic since 2001 that any of them were licensed. This is as a result of lack of power or electricity to reduce the cost of doing business. And so we need to fix the cost of doing business. And by that, making sure that we sustain the current ease of doing business, but largely ensuring that we increase sustainably our power generation in terms of electricity.
Thank you so much, economic analyst there, Jide Ojo, for joining us on News on the Hour. And still ahead on the program is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Oto Ilogbo, a slum in the midst of the city.
This community came into existence in 1993 in the absence of a mass house to the teeming Lagosians. That's why some of us come to this community and create something out of nothing.
This is home to different people who share one thing in common, which is living in deplorable conditions.
No dualization of roads, no drainage, no proper water, no toilets, nothing like school.
If I sick, there is no way to pass, and we don't have antenatal here.
Since when I come this Lagos, now here I've been staying. I have almost 8 children, plus grandchildren now.
I do contest for councillor for 4 times. I contest for local government chairman 2 times. If you people are in the seat, you cannot do the needful. Let people like us be in that seat and make sure that my people benefited in governance.
Premise Friday, 1:30 p.m.
And in entertainment, the Lagos State Film and Video Censor Board, LSFVCB, has issued a 30-day notice on content producers in Nigeria to duly register the content with the body. The board executive secretary, Mr. Bamidele Balogun, gave the notice while unveiling a platform for the Performing Musicians Employers Association, PMAN, and L'Afrique Pro Media to track and generate revenue for the entertainers. And I quote, practitioners and stakeholders are also informed that henceforth all audio and visual content produced and sold within Lagos State shall attract the payment of 5% levy on each item. This exercise will, however, assist the Lagos State government in policy formulation with regards to planning and funding for the sector, he said. Balogun said that violators of the registration would face severe sanctions by the board, calling for the cooperation of stakeholders to achieve the goal. Joining me further to analyze this matter is Fola Folayan, broadcaster and head of digital media at Smooth 98.1 FM. Hi, Fola.
Hello, thank you for having me on the show. Quick correction though, I no longer work at Smooth 98.1.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Thank you for joining me. Just diving into the questions really quickly. Sorry about that. The general public have responded to this new regulation as an unfair and wild one. Is this really the case, or is this the type of levy necessary or commonly found in other parts of the world?
Okay, first, let me start by saying that this levy is absolutely unnecessary. We understand the need for regulation. We understand that elsewhere in the world, there is regulation, there is taxation for businesses, whether entertainment or otherwise. But what obtains elsewhere in the world when it comes to regulation is not asking for more money. It's not double taxation. It's not undue taxes. It is actually regulation that protects the audience from harmful content, especially children and minors. Now, when it comes to taxation, a lot of production companies already pay taxes. They already pay taxes as existing businesses. They have their CAC registration, they have their tax registration. So asking for another levy here borderlines double taxation. And I think it's absolutely unfair.
What are the repercussions of the vagueness of this new levy being imposed on content creators?
First, it is very vague. Like you said, it doesn't. Who are we taxing? Are we taxing music video producers? Are we taxing filmmakers? Or are we taxing internet comedians who just post a 50-second skit on Instagram? Who are we taxing? We need to make that very, very clear. Because if we don't make it very clear, then it becomes subject to abuse by any and everybody. So we need to make that very clear. Now, the repercussion also is that you have a lot of people who now work and don't get paid. I'm very, very concerned about the wording, of that statement where it says that this will assist the government in policy formulation and providing revenue for the industry. Excuse me. The industry has been surviving just fine, tracking its own revenue and making sure that artists are getting paid before this. And when it comes to, formulating policies, we have copyright issues out there and policies that needed to be made to be put in place, and nothing has happened. So I don't see how this 5% levy is going to suddenly change policy. All I see is, a government that sees a sector that seems to be thriving without it, and then they want to make money off it without necessarily understanding that industry.
Right. What are the negatives and positives, if any, could impact that we should be expecting from this 5% levy being imposed?
It will be very, very hard for me to find any positives for you, honestly.
I could
all I see here are just issues that we need to fix.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time, but thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
That is all on entertainment news. The best in sports is right after this.
And in sports, former Tottenham defender Jan Vertonghen is having a medical at Benfica before signing a 3-year deal.
The 33-year-old left the Spurs at the end of the season after 8 years with the Premier League club, where he made over 300 appearances. Now, the Belgian international did not win a major honor in England, and he was part of the Spurs team that lost to the League Cup final to Chelsea in 2015 and the Champions League final to Liverpool in 2019. His proposed new club, Benfica, finished second in the Portuguese top flight last season and will enter the Champions League at the third qualifying round stage. And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
Thanks, Udoka, for that sports update. Now, for more news and stories, do follow us on Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Anetta Felix. Bye for now.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of guns.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
This is Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we'll bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you. My name is Elsie Godwin, and I have my co-anchors with me, Ife Omai, physically, and Ife Oluwashanke. Hi. At least Ife won't be saying spiritual things anymore.
Oh,
guys.
so what day yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I saw.
You were around, right?
Yeah, in the spirit. Wow. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay, moving on real quick. Davido receives honorary plaque as his album hits 1 billion streams.
Amazing stuff. That's
Big win. Yeah, and we're talking of one album, not his other works, you know. So this is actually really good.
Yeah, I like how we're just bagging a lot of millions as of recent. Like, it wasn't 2 days ago.
Yesterday, actually, Wizkid did the 2 billion streams.
Was it yesterday? Because I was here when we talked about that.
You weren't. Was she?
No,
you weren't. You were really in spirit here. Yeah, so it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And the fellow was trying to brag, and I was telling him
that's
to
what we
tone
do.
down the
That's what we
bragging.
do.
It's not that deep, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's not that deep, don't you think? It's
It's deep. It's deep.
Deep, man.
Whiskey.
So the thing, and then we were just differentiating the people that actually are the international stage and the people who actually need
Has
the
Beyonce stage
and have the Beyonce stage to get the international level. So this is a big win because it's a good time, and then I'm looking forward to a better time, which is about to drop in a couple of months, I suppose. He hasn't released a date yet, but that's his next studio album, and I'm looking forward to that because this is definitely a good time for Davido. And like I always keep saying, a lot of people are saying that, man, they haven't seen Davido in a while on social media, they miss him and all that. So it's actually working. So I believe that the next time it comes out, it's going to come out with a bang. Whatever it drops now, everybody wants to jump on it.
Yeah.
So this is to all creators out there. I think sometimes you just need to take a break and
Let them miss you a bit.
Yeah, get missed, man. You feel me? Like, it's no messy finish, no day.
Okay. So let's move on to the next story. This is from one good news to another. Popular Instagram sensation known for remaking film productions, Ikorodu Boys, received surprise gifts from Netflix to boost their comedy, and that's not all. They are equally being awarded scholarship by Kunle Afolayan's CAP Film and Television Academy to harness and nurture their talent. Now joining us on the story, of course, is the renowned film director, producer, actor, and founder of CAP Academy, Kunle Afolayan. Hello, Mr. Afolayan. Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry,
Good
this
to
thing,
have you
this
on the show.
technology thing keeps falling off.
I'm sure of all people shouldn't be complaining about that. Now it's your thing. It's our work.
Okay, how are you guys?
We're fine, thank you. How are you too?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so what is it about Ikorodu boys, in your opinion, that is getting this attention and this, of course, scholarship from you?
Okay, let me put it this way. For me, this is so well deserved because, I mean, these are not guys who have been in the scene for a long time. They started by creating, their own style. And when I say their own style, they didn't come out to say, look, we're filmmakers. They just came out using basic tools, which is phone, because I was asking them that, what camera do you guys actually use to shoot? And they said they use phone. Now, and they've used this to recreate people's works. But the style and the artistic way, of doing it is what has gotten them this far. Not the fact that they have access to equipment, not the fact that they have access to, luxury that a lot of people have, when it comes to filmmaking. And I remember some time ago, I reached out to them and I said to them, look, continue to do what you do because I believe that the whole world is watching. So when this call came, I was just here in my office and I got an email from Netflix saying, hey, look, we like what the Ikorodu boys are doing and we would like to present them a gift. And we're wondering if this is something you can help handle. Now, by handling it, what they meant was, what do you think they need? What do you think will help them? What can we give them? And I said to them that, look, at that stage, what they actually need are two major things. Capacity building is one, which is training so that they can better their knowledge and understanding of the craft. And then the next thing is they need tools, equipment, to work with. And they said, okay, that's fine, that they will take care of the equipment side. And they said to send them a list. So in-house, we help draw a list of some of this equipment. If they want to do a feature film, they can do with this equipment. So we draw up a list and we send to Netflix, and Netflix arranged for those things to be bought for them.
Either ways, I think it came in at the right time because on social media there has been a lot of, complaints about things like this where people claim to be helping the grassroots and we ended up finding out that it's audio and all that type of stuff. But still speaking on social media, this scholarship has been well received, and through that started the conversation of them, and I guess I want your thoughts on this, if you agree or disagree, where people are saying that the Ikorodu boys could possibly have their creativity, dampened if they get too, in the limelight, if they get too mainstream, if that makes sense. If there's a lot of attention, maybe there's a lot more pressure and things like that. I don't know, from your perspective, do you think that this type of attention, because we're hoping it's not going to end just here and that obviously they get better. Do you think this type of attention and comfort almost could make or mar the creative process for the Ikorodu boys?
It could. And these, of course, we didn't put this out, but I really sat them down and, because a few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I read on the internet where someone complained that they reached out to them for an interview and they said they had to be paid to grant the interview. So when they came, that was one of the first things I asked them, their leader, and I said, I read this, that is it true? And the guy said it's not true, that, that there was nothing like that. For me, look, and this I was also discussing with someone this morning, it's something for you to recreate someone's work, maintaining that person's original sound, because film, one picture is one, sound is another. If you watch all the skits that they do, they recreate the picture, the video, but they don't touch the audio of the original work. So for them to be able to do their own content, merging original sound with the picture, it is something they have to learn. So I mean, I think they have God on their side, and look, I can't take it away from the fact that they are originally blessed, which is where the creativity comes from. But when you now have the attention, I mean, and I said it to him, I said, look, you guys don't be distracted by this attention. And I even cited examples, and I said, you know this person, you know this person, you know this person. 2 years ago, if they walk on the street of Lagos, everybody will be shouting. But if they see them now, they'll probably just say, hey, how are you? Or they won't even greet them at all. I said, so sustainability, I mean, you guys need to continue to be creative. That energy, you know, and that zeal and anxiety that you had when you started it, that is what should keep moving you and motivating you.
Amazing.
When people get into too much comfort, you know, a lot of times the artistic zeal and energy drops. You know, and when there's too much, equipment and all of that to play with, it also affects their original creativity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Folayan, for that.
Pray that this is not going to be their own case.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Folayan, for that. So, but one thing that caught my attention the most is that we've seen a lot of privileged people that actually have this equipment but do nothing with it. So, what caught my attention the most was the fact that you gave them a scholarship. That is, you're teaching them the nitty-gritty. You're not just giving them fish now. You're teaching them how to catch the fish as well, because that is very important, because they can have all this equipment and not know how to actually put it into good use. So what are the plans, apart from the scholarship? How long would they be in there? After they leave the CAP Academy, would they be able to start creating movies using this equipment, and then maybe going further and then taking them under your wings, you know, starting movies and stuff like that? Do we have such plans in place for these boys?
Yeah, I mean, from our own end, what we promised them was scholarship is one, which is to attend the school. Then mentorship is another thing, and this I told them that I will do in my own capacity. The reason everybody's talking about them right now is not because they are privileged and they've had they had backing of you know, people or parents or anybody. This is something they started on their own, and I don't think anybody should come out to then start taking the credit. No, for me, I just think from the point where they are now, they need a lot of guidance so that they don't derail. You know, they need to learn you know, how to improve on the craft. And like I mentioned earlier, it is so important that they learn the two sides to this thing. All the materials they've done, they copied other people's work and they retained other people's, the sound and all of that. Ordinarily, if we're in the world where people don't value more publicity, they could have been sued for recreating or using other people's materials. But it's because those things came out positive. All right. And the platforms like Netflix think that, I mean, you know, there has been a lot of attention to their works and, you know, what they stand for, you know, in Africa. And I think that is why they decided to embrace this, because it doesn't put them in any bad light. So these are some of the things that we are going to take upon us if they are open to it. You can't force anything. We've it's one thing for you to offer people scholarship, is another thing for them
to be ready to learn,
you know, to think is worth it and to take it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Folayan, for sharing more details concerning this arrangement. We hope to have you again soon to discuss more things in the entertainment industry.
Anytime.
All right.
Thank you.
Tea time continues right after this short break.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Today's top stories are:
and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
I'm here at Yunus Bashorin Street where
the fire destroyed our transformer complete as well.
The Lagos State Film and Video Censors Board has issued a 30-day notice to content producers in Nigeria to duly register their content with the body, demanding 5% tax on all audio and visual content from content producers. The board executive secretary, Mr. Bamidele Balogun, says practitioners involved in production, sale, distribution of audio and visual products are advised to register through the board's authorized agents within 30 days. Quote, practitioners and stakeholders are also informed that henceforth all audio and visual content produced and sold within Lagos State shall attract the payment of 5% levy on each of them, end of quote. Yeah, so
it's okay. It's to send my content abroad for them to help me upload it, and I'll send it in Nigeria.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the questions. I mean, I think this what will I call it now, instruction or order or demand is a bit too vague for you to even understand who exactly will be involved, what kind of content. Are you talking about Instagram content? Are you talking about music videos? Are you talking about movies? Because if you use the word content and then we just run along because it's Lagos Film and Video Censors Board and just decide it's just for film and video, what says that it can be used against somebody else because what we are seeing is just content? Yeah.
So there's a Yoruba saying that says Owo abula fin se abula lejo. That is, you're saying this would help improve the industry, right? We see all the countries where the government is willing to just support the creative industry without asking for anything. Maybe, of course, in tax returns we get all of that, but saying a 5% levy is like, okay, pay us so that we can help you. That's the way it looks to me.
Why don't you just leave the 5% to ourselves so that we can help ourselves? I prefer that. I don't like how it's vague. I think it being vague already shows that this is kind of like being ostracized to be used as a tool to confuse people. I feel like if you were being honest and your intentions were good, you'd be very clear as to who you were talking to and who you're directing this policy regulation to. We've seen this happen before, even with the bikes that they wanted to start, that was going to affect the dispatch riders, and we came together on social media. If I call us audio whatever, as audio activists, there's still a voice and space for that, and the government has retracted on that and said that they will look into it based on our feedback. So I'm hoping that the same thing is going to happen with this particular case, where people can start to ask for more clarity. They need to start giving more clarity on what that means, and then see if it actually makes sense for Lagos as a state, because I don't think it's every single thing that you need to levy on. And with content, the way it is done, like Elsie mentioned, like it's so complicated
ambiguous, actually.
Yeah,
like
so
you can't place it anywhere.
Yeah, obviously I don't mind that there should be more structure in regards to like heavy production, like things that are airing on national television and things like that. I understand to an extent that there needs to be structure into that. If there's profit, if there's a way that you need to put it together to make it even a more bigger thing, sure, no problem, but make it more specific as to what you mean by that.
Okay, moving on to the next story. Regina Daniels' mom gets, Rita gets PDP appointment. So I don't know why this is making big in the news, because I feel like this is just party politics. Like if you're part of a party and then you're active, then you probably get some roles or things to do in the party, which is what I think is going on. But if it's a big deal to them, then congratulations.
Congratulations to her, because we've always said most creative and people that have a solid platform should get involved in politics. So if she's going to use this platform to speak to the youth and carry along a daughter, Regina Daniels, and Nedun Woko is a businessman and part-time politician as well. So we know that he dabbles into politics every now and then, either godfatherism. Okay, don't quote me on that, but I'm just saying that things like that also happen. So whatever it is, I just like the fact that we have somebody who is in the entertainment space that is also getting involved in politics. Honestly, join your parties and let's see what positive impact you can actually make.
I concur. I concur. I mean, let's see what that means. It's for now, it's just like when rich people do something and then we must talk about it until I start to see like some proper results. I'm not really sure how to like feel about it, Yeah.
Okay, I guess this is how we wrap up this episode of Tea Time. Thank you for watching, and please do join the conversation by sending your opinions via WhatsApp to 09060005719 or tweet at us at +TV Africa. Also watch this episode all over again, of course, all our exclusive content on YouTube at +TV Africa. My thank you as always to go to my co-anchors, Ife Omai and Ife Oluoshunke, and the entire production team. Thank you for watching +TV Africa's Tea Time. My name is Elsie Godwin. To stay safe.
Oto Ilogbo, a slum in the midst of the city.
This community came into existence in 1993 in the absence of a man's house to the teeming Lagosians. That's why some of us come to this community and create something out of nothing.
This is home to different people who share one thing in common, which is living in deplorable conditions.
No dualization of roads, no drainage, no proper water, no toilets, nothing like school.
If I sick, there is no way to pass, and we don't have antenatal here.
Since when I come this Lagos, now here I be staying. I have almost 8 children plus grandchildren now.
I do contest for councillor for 4 times. I contest for local government chairman 2 times. If you people are in the seat, you cannot do the needful. Let people like us be in that seat and make sure that my people benefited in governance.
Premise Friday, 1:30 p.m. If you live in Lagos or visiting Lagos, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, and with a population of over 20 million persons, you would notice the traffic is almost a daily life situation. To ease this burden, the Lagos State government have put in place Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, to control the traffic situation. But as you would imagine, it is still overwhelming. Well, recently we began to notice a different kind of traffic warden on the Lagos Island part, not employed by the government, but on voluntary basis. They are physically challenged. Ismail and Ibrahim used to be beggars, but after Lagos State government placed a ban on begging, they decided to do something different.
Na yi niyyar wannan aiki, kuma ko da yaushe ina nan cikin wannan aiki. Ba gudu ba jara ba. Gwamnati ta taimaka mun. A taimaka mun. Ma ko da wani lokaci ai na san ganin mu za a ga mu. Gwamnati ta taimaka mun. Allah muna son wannan aikin saboda ba ma son bara. Wannan barace-baracen ya ishe mu. Shi yasa muna wannan aiki.
Ina roƙon mutane waɗanda suke masu kuɗi, Hausawanmu, wuci Yoruba, wuci Igbo. Ina roƙon su taimaka mana da wannan abin da muke yi, ko aikin yi, ko allowance, duk abin da ya samu muna da bukata.
Motorists attest to the fact that their voluntary services have been quite helpful, while calling for some sort of formal payment be made to them.
We really thank God for them, that they are here. If not, there will be a lot of traffic. They are helping us here very well. And we want government, at least if they can do something for them, maybe little things at the end of the month. Because we really like that. We too that are driving always give them something. If not because of them, there will be a lot of traffic over here.
Most times when I pass around, I saw that particular guy there doing some traffic work there. I'm encouraged because one, they are giving them a kind of privilege to also try and use their skills, and they can also add to the society by also doing some other work like that. It's very good. So that will be a kind of an encouragement to other people, so that they will not look down on anybody that is. They're also human beings like us. So for me, it's encouraging, and I think it's a very better idea.
And we support them at the same time, just because of the traffic men are not much, and the last man are not here, and the policemen are not here. The PCRC members are not here, which I'm one of the members. But it's okay. We support them. At least if government can. Lagos State government can look at a way they can just reach out to these ones by giving them other uniforms to, perform this duty they are doing at the same time. If the government can be able to reach out to them with some little funds every month, so to encourage them to do what they're doing instead of then going on the street begging people money.
This uniform, government does not give me this uniform. So the work what they do inside this order. Many people that go see me, they go give me something I go buy. So now the thing I go take buy this uniform because na him my uniform, na him my ID card.
I doubt if the community were the one that contracted them. I believe they are volunteers. But however, whichever way, I think the community should take advantage in the sense that they've changed from, instead of begging, they've decided to volunteer their service in controlling traffic, and basically they are trying. I remember sometime, was it early January or between early January and late December, I can't place it, at going close to a roundabout. If you're coming out from Etimi and the other ending, there's this crippled guy. Each time I close from work, I'm always seeing him there around 4, 5, 6. He's doing an amazing job there because usually that place used to be a spot for heavy traffic. Everybody wants to move, and so if we are the local government chair lady, or if there's a way we can get across to her, let her just take advantage and recruit them, and even if it's just a commission, it should be placed on a payroll or something.
In a separate event, we caught up with Princess Rashidat Adu, the executive chairman at Etiosa local government area, where they serve, and she says this of them.
For the traffic officers that you said you see, they've attached themselves to the local government. Sincerely, I didn't give them jackets because I saw them too on the road, and I approached them. When I see them, I just give them money because I believe that they are looking for what to put in their mouth. And sometimes I call them to the office. I said, I don't want to be seeing you at the roundabout because of your own security. You never can tell. A vehicle can be coming now and something will happen. I am the first point of call. Because of that, I try to discourage them from controlling the traffic. But because they now told me that this is what they get, at least people that are passing, the motorists, they'll give them, they'll tip them and all that. I said, okay, what do you think we can do that will bring money to you? And some came, they said they want to go back to their villages, and I gave them money. I said, okay, when you get back to your village, what will you be doing? One said you'll be doing shoemaker. One said he will be selling provision. And I said, okay, how much do you think that will cost? And they mentioned the money, very ridiculous. But in my own little way, I gave to them. And I asked them to go back. Funny enough, they didn't go back. You will still see these same people on the road controlling traffic. So what do? There's nothing to do about it. Because in a way, that is how they get their own livelihood, and stopping them from doing it will be a harm to them. And I don't want to harm anybody. As much as I want to add value to the life of the people around Victoria Island. I think since they said that is what they want to do, let them continue doing.
However, motorists like Carlo, on the contrary, feels they are not needed all the time.
It could be better when there's much traffic, but now there is no traffic. Staying here is not all that conducive now, because me, I suppose to have already passed.
While doing their bit to ease off the traffic, Ibrahim acknowledges that they meet motorists who sometimes are impatient with them.
I don't forget for that day. I just stopped the one person for this job. The time when you come block the road, I say stop, make it one person pass. So that time, for this man, I beg and say stop. You know one stop. You ready to jam me for the motor? You don't know, say, you see me, say me, I am disabled. Why not stop? I know they stop him for nothing. Because he come blocking the road. He come show me, say, he get power. He blocked me for this, my eyes. Remain small, it will scatter my eyes.
Well, with over 1.6 million vehicles plying Lagos roads daily, just maybe volunteers like Ibrahim and Ismail are a great asset aiding government strategies to tackle high-volume traffic across the state. For Plus TV Africa, Amaka Okoye.
If the singer accused of blasphemy repents, will he get a pat on the back like repentant Boko Haram members? And Edo assembly factions exchange words over planned sitting. This is Plus Politics. I am Kayode Ladende. Welcome back. It's Plus Politics. An upper Sharia court has sentenced 22-year-old Yahya Sharif Aminu to death after finding him guilty of committing blasphemy through a song he circulated via WhatsApp in March. He did not deny the charges. In a bid to express their disappointment, a number of Nigerians took to the social media criticizing the ruling, while noting that some Boko Haram terrorists had been pardoned and reintegrated into the society under the Operation Safe Corridor initiative. Joining us to make sense of this comparison is Dr. Ona Ehomu, a security expert. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for having me.
And joining us in this discussion, we also have Mr. Ahmed Buhari, a politician and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, Mr. Buhari.
Thank you, Kaide. It's good to be here again.
Okay, let me start with you. I noticed that Dr. Ona is still trying to take his breath. But let me start with you. This is the conversation in the social media, and this is part of our society. What can you say? Is there a justification in this comparison, so to say?
Good evening, viewers. It's always, this is how it is in Nigeria. Whenever there's a situation that can create controversy and that is capable of reminding us of all of those factors that make us different, we try to put it in the front burner. I've always said that whenever the matter is around religion, politics, social status, gender, and ethnicity, we are always very quick to fuel it to the very, very top. We love the heat when it comes to this kind of controversial issues. But if there are issues that are supposed to unite us and put us in peace and look for the lasting solution to most of our problems, we are always very reluctant to be part of it. So what I understand with the news that is going on is there is a certain musician in Kano who sang a song that is termed as blasphemous towards Islam, and I think, targeted at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And on the other hand, there are people who are saying that if you're going to convict that man of a blasphemous crime, so to speak, then how come you are now freeing Boko Haram terrorists who have repented? And that if they have repented, are we now saying that if this musician also repents, he is going to be forgiven and the death penalty that has been labeled on him will be removed? But I think there are two different situations here. It's important for us to understand that most of the people that are involved in the Boko Haram activities are people who are there unwillingly. There are people who were kidnapped by Boko Haram themselves and forced to join their terrible movement to alienate people for no just cause. There are people who have been kidnapped, whose family members have also been kidnapped and have been compelled to join Boko Haram. And then very clearly, the federal government of Nigeria said, we are going to pardon you if you can, surrender and leave the Boko Haram cause, which most of them did, and they were awarded amnesty. This is something that we did in this country some 13, 14 years ago with the Niger Delta boys who were prepared to drop their arms and say we're no longer going to be part of the mayhem that is going on in the Niger Delta. We're going to repent, and we saw how the Nigerian government was willing to pump in resources to make sure that they rehabilitate those individuals that were prepared to surrender. Nobody at that time said, "Oh, how can you forgive people who have killed?" You see, at the end of the day, two wrongs can never make a right. Okay. So we moved on with the amnesty program in the Niger Delta, and now the government is looking at the situation in the northeast and saying, we do know that most of the people here were forced to get into the Boko Haram system. Some of them willingly got into the Boko Haram system and have sort of realized that it's a mistake and have presented themselves, submitted themselves, agreed to repent. And by all means, the government is living up to its promise to say, if you submit, we're going to grant you amnesty. But for the case of the musician who sang a blasphemous song that I haven't even heard about, haven't heard yet, is said to have been given the option to either be tried in a Sharia court or in one of our secular courts. And I do not know why the gentleman decided to choose the Sharia court, even if he knew that the death penalty was going to be bestowed upon him. Whatever the case is, I think there are two things here in the Sharia system. That the fact that you have a choice to choose whether the Sharia court should try you, and the fact that you have a choice to use the secular system that we have in our judicial system. Whatever the case is right now, I believe that what we should be looking at is to say, fine, does this man have the right to appeal? And I just found out that yes, he has the right to appeal with the Supreme Court or the other higher courts that is available for him to appeal. Judgment.
I'll come back to you, Ahmed.
Advised by certain people,
Ahmed,
and I think that it should be
let's rest it for now. In fact, the way you've responded, you've almost captured all the points that I really want to ask you, but I would make adjustments.
I just want us to get on with and finish quickly.
Yeah, that's cool. Let me go to Dr. Ona. Let me also get your perspective. The same question. Any reason, any justification to compare the issue of the singer who was termed to be blasphemous and it's been given a capital punishment, and that of the repentant Boko Haram members?
Thank you, sir. Well, I think there is no parallel between the two situations. The singer committed an act contrary to Sharia law, and like Mr. Buhari just said, he opted for trial under the Sharia system. And so he knew the risks he was taking, and he was ill-advised. If I were in his shoes, I would have probably said I wouldn't go for that kind of a trial, which could result in the kind of punishment that has been pronounced upon him. So I think that is just that. The guy miscalculated, and he decided to go to a court which perhaps he felt might favor him, but ended up not favoring him. So, like Mr. Buhari has said, he should probably explore the option of an appeal such that perhaps he might be freed on appeal if there are grounds to allow the appeal. Now, the OSC, Safe Corridor, I have a lot of problems with. I've had a lot of problems with it right from the beginning, even when it was being conceived. And I put out a lot of write-ups there in mainstream media saying that the claim to OSC, or the claim of OSC really came out of the National Security Office, or Office of National Security Advisor, ANSA, and it was supposed to be a de-radicalization program. It's a way, de-radicalization is a strategy of dealing with violent extremist organizations. We call them VEOs. And you de-radicalize their members such that you suck away members from the organization and reduce their teeth so they can't bite, that they can't cause harm, they can't carry out terrorist attacks, and so on and so forth. So it's a way of attracting them to leave the ranks of their terrorist organization and surrender to the authorities, and then be taken through Islamic training that's trying to turn around their understanding of the religion, and then also be taken through some citizenship programs, which will hopefully turn them into good citizens of the country. But having said that, my problem right from the get-go, from the beginning, was that what was the measurement of the level of de-radicalization? What was the measurement? Now, Mr. Buhari has mentioned the issue of Niger Delta militancy and Niger Delta militants. Well, their issue was pecuniary in nature. If somebody has a pecuniary issue, all you need to